Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Listen, hey, it is us. It is me. It is we. We back in the building. Listen, we're so sorry. We're supposed to be on at 7 o'clock in our no filter masterclass, but I don't know if it's divine providence, there was some frustration, whatever is happening. But we still wanted to make sure we came on. Our masterclass has been it's a multi-series part, the no filter relationship series, masterclass series. And Tamika and I have been doing this now for a few weeks, but tonight we couldn't get Zoom to work. So we know that we have our people who have paid to be in it, but we still wanted to get this out here in front of the people on tonight. And so to do that, we just thought we just gonna come live on social media and give tonight's
Right.
lesson. And so that was unexpected. It wasn't what was in the cards, but it is what it is. And we're here tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about check them kids. Check them kids. Kids can be a blessing, never a curse, but they can test your marriage. They can test your marriage. And it's check them kids when parenting hijacks your marriage. And we're gonna get into it on tonight. I am Damon Rich, and she is.
Tamika Rich.
She forgets her name sometimes,
Yeah.
but no. Honey, how's your day been?
It's been good. No complaints.
No complaints. Oh, you.
No
Oh,
complaints. How about
yeah.
yours?
Prep it up.
Oh,
Prep it up.
we
Pep it
said I
up.
have one complaint that the Zoom was acting up. So that's my only complaint for today.
That's your only complaint for the day is that the Zoom was acting up. Yeah, that's my complaint today too. The Zoom was acting up. I don't really have no other complaints I would say myself, but yeah, the Zoom not acting right put me a little on edge. I almost like two tears in the bucket. Forget it, right? I think that's the
All
word.
right.
So, but we're not gonna do that on tonight. We're gonna really get into here, bless the people, share something. Those that haven't been in the masterclass series, they're getting something for the free that I think is going to bless a lot of people on tonight when it comes down to these kids, right? And our life and the lives that we try and create for our children so that they can grow in happy, thriving homes. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that will be a blessing to the people on tonight. So we want to make sure that we get into that and dig into it tonight. So you love your kids. I love
Of
my
course.
kids. We die for them, right? But what if the way we raise them, and we kind of technically, hold on, let us give ourselves a whoop whoop. We semi empty nesters in theory.
There you go. There you go.
In theory, we are
Mhm.
empty nesters, right? Um, but I would be lying if sometimes I don't look back as a dad and wonder, did I do a good enough job? I would be lying if I didn't look like back as a dad and wonder, have I given them everything they need in order to succeed and to be their best? I would be lying if I said that I don't Monday morning quarterback my parenting. If I would be lying if I said that. And sadly, there's sometimes it's like, man, I could have did more. And sadly, there's times I feel like, man, I did too doggone much. These children spoiled. They got all the stuff. Every now and again, I look at my daughter, who's
Mhm.
my sidekick. Um, she might be she's a good, healthy mix of the both of us, personality wise. She may lean towards me, but I look at it, I just tell her, I say, girl, you spoiled. You know that you spoiled. And all our kids really they're spoiled in their different ways. And so you sometimes you're questioning, like, did I really give them the parenting that they need? Did I do the thing that I needed to do as a father? And that's kind of what we're gonna dig into a little bit tonight. So um you know
Yeah, I
That
think
that's
we all feel
hmm
like that sometimes as a parent.
right, right, right. So
Yeah.
so set the tone for the people just a little bit tonight, babe.
Yeah,
Um,
so
mhm,
yeah, so we're gonna talk about parenting, and when it hijacks your marriage, because sometimes it can get in the way if we don't do it right, and we all have those moments where we don't get it right, of course, but we want to do it one, how the Bible tells us to do it, right?
mhm,
And so this isn't about bashing parents or parenting. We love our kids. I know you love your kids too, but it's about parenting in its rightful place. So behind the marriage, not above it, because when you flip that order, everyone loses, right? And so tonight is about understanding that the order that God created this union to be parents, I meant marriage, then parenting, right? And then how to truly love your kids the way you're supposed to, but not put them ahead of your spouse. So that's what we're going to be
right.
talking about tonight. Yeah. And I know and here's the thing, it's touchy. Sometimes it's really touchy when we talk to other couples and other people because there's so many different dynamics. So when you talk about bonus children and all of that, because there's different scenarios, it can be touchy.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's real talk. I actually asked one of my mentees. I asked him to ask his wife, then he answered for his wife. But I asked him to ask his wife. I said, I want to answer from both of you. Which comes first, the marriage or the kids? Because they're still in the
Mm,
throes of younger kids. And
right.
he answered for his wife. My wife would say the marriage first. I say, ask her. I don't want your answer for her. Ask her. Right.
All right.
But he would say historically, this is his answer. Historically, the
Mhm.
kids have come first, but what should happen, what's the right thing to do, is the marriage should come first. And so I want to know from you out there, how many of you have ever felt like roommates instead of lovers since having kids? Right? This
Mm.
is that gut check that we're going to get into. How many of you have ever felt like roommates instead of lovers since having kids? So this is a little bit of a gut check on tonight that we're gonna get into, right? So let's talk about the original design. Marriage first, right? Parenting flows from marriage. The greatest gift that we can give our children is a healthy home. A healthy home, right?
For
So as a parent, I shouldn't be trying to have a healthy marriage just for the kids, but just know that our kids benefit when our
Mhm.
marriage and our home is healthy, when the marriage is healthy. So when you think you doing whatever you doing as a man or you doing whatever you doing as a woman, and oh no, it don't affect those kids. Those kids pick up and see a lot of stuff. They see a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna give a little piece. I'm gonna get real personal tonight on a few different things, right? Because marriage was designed to be the foundation. Children are the fruit, and like Tamika
Mhm.
said, that if you flip it, you end up starving the root, right? And to keep the fruit alive. But if the root dies, the fruit dies. Come on now, hold on. I ain't mean for that to ride right there. If the root dies, the fruit dies.
For sure.
So that's backwards, right? But I'm gonna get a little personal here. Since I've grown, I'm a father myself and I'm a husband myself. I could have been a better kid. And I look at times in how my mom put me ahead of her marriage. And now, as a father, as a husband,
Mhm.
I can only imagine what it must have been like for my stepfather, because I'm not even his, but for my stepfather to still want to try to work on having a healthy marriage. Because he knew one day this joke gonna be up out of here, but to still want to
R-
have a healthy marriage, even though as a kid I put undue stress on him, right?
Right.
And my mom deferred. She probably put me in many ways ahead of the marriage. There are times where I'm sure she put the marriage up there. Like I grew up, my kids never know this, in terms of I grew up to where my parents would go on when I was a teenager. They would go out of out of state, multiple states away, and leave me at the house as a teenager. Ain't nobody there. My sister was grown and gone. And
Mhm.
shoot, you a teenager, take care of yourself. It's the summer. Took care of myself. Took care of myself. But I'm certain that those are moments where she's like, I gotta do something because I gotta try and put my marriage ahead of these children. So that's kind of a little bit of personal. I'll share a little bit more of my story as we go. So, that that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Mm,
What you got,
yeah.
honey?
So truth is, we don't need perfect parents, and I kind of said that earlier. None of us are perfect. We have work to do, right? But children need parents that love each other, that they see stick together. And when you have that dynamic come together, then it works, right? So it works
Mm-hmm.
for the family unit. And neither of them notice the marriage is shrinking while the kids are thriving, right? So long as you're putting all of that energy into the kids and we're going good, and this is like perfect because been there, right? And so for me it was when they got a certain age and you realize you really hadn't cultivated the relationship with each other, that you look up one day and go, oh my goodness, the kids are almost grown. I don't know this person anymore. We don't do anything or talk about nothing about except the kids and what they're doing. And so that's what the conversation is kind of around, right?
Right,
And
right,
those things, but nothing truly with each other. It's like how and it's different. So you gotta, it's different buckets or different boats, right? So you got to cultivate the relationship between me and you, and also still parent, but know how that comes into play, or how you bring the parenting in the relationship. And not that you're neglecting parenting or your kids or anything like that, but you got to know how to weave it in to make
right,
that fit, right? But yeah,
right.
so a lot of times it's like you put so much emphasis on the kids, especially when, and it's easy to do when they're young or babies, because moms do that. That's just how we are, that nurturing part. So when they're younger, it's like, okay, away with you, hubby. And this baby has to be fed and tended to and all of the things. But even in that, I think the father kind of understands, or hopefully, that it's different during that time, but then you're not supposed to stay there. There is a transition. So a lot of times the transition or the pivot is what is the tricky part.
Right, right. See, I've seen. Ooh, I love it. So I've seen some situations where in some videos and different things, but even in real life conversations where wives, after, like, before the kids were born, wife would be like, hold on, honey, let me fix your plate, blah blah blah. Kids born, you grown, you can fix your own plate, I gotta make sure these kids whatever, as opposed to inviting him into the process. And somebody might say,
Mhm.
well, why you got to be invited? But if you see you're not doing it, something has changed in the home. Like, okay, I'm going to give some grace and say, hey, babe, I'm getting the kids dinner together. Could you fix my plate and yours? Right.
Mhm.
So that we can all sit down together. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, figure out
Right.
some ways to work that thing out. But I've seen some people just sit there and they like, I don't, he grown this and that. And I think that we forget, again, I'm going to say it again, the marriage is for the children. The children are not for the marriage. The marriage is
Mhm.
for the children. The children are not for the marriage. If you kill the root, the marriage, then the fruit that the children get from it is going to die. Kill the root, kill the fruit. So
Right.
we have to recognize, like, as a father, a young father, um, there's some things I kind of knew, but some things I didn't understand fully. And I had some probably old school ways of thinking to a certain degree. Oh, well, this hers and this her thing as a mom and this and that, and not understanding where I could have been a little more supportive
Mhm.
in those things and coming up, because you weren't necessarily taught that, you didn't see that type of thing or whatever. So as much as people want to believe that you can just tell us to do something different than what we
Mhm.
saw and we should do that different things, that's a bunch of nonsense. I need to see it modeled out.
Right. Right. Yeah. And a
One,
lot of times
go ahead,
that
babe.
reconditioning your
Yes.
mind, and how you saw it, and how you assume it should be. Because a lot of times what happens is when you come into it, oh, I saw it this way, so that's how it's supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And this is the thing. I, I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound contradictory because it actually is one of the keys of some reconnect. Nah, I'll wait. I'm gonna wait. I ain't gonna go there yet. I ain't gonna go there yet. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I will tell you
Yeah.
this, and I was just thinking about this about 2 weeks ago. We have a tendency to tell men, watch how you treat your wife because you're setting an example for your daughters on how they should be treated. You're setting an
Mhm.
example for your sons on how they should treat their wife. What I don't hear, I don't think I've ever heard, not that it has never been said, watch how
Right.
you treat your husband because you're teaching your son what he
Mhm.
doesn't want to put up with. And you're teaching your daughter what she's able to get away with.
Mhm.
Now,
Right.
you have to step back and say, what I want my daughter in law to treat my son like I'm treating their father? Do I
Mm.
want my daughter in law to treat, do I want my son in law to treat my daughter the way that I'm treating her mother?
Right.
Men also, and I feel like this gets missed, there's an example that, let me go on and be personal. Now that I've matured, there's some things that I recognize that I didn't tolerate in our marriage where I should have probably had a little more grace because I
Mhm.
saw my mom and how she treated my stepfather. So
Mhm.
I wasn't going to let you treat me like and y'all may have had two. I think my mom really did it out of ignorance, right?
Mhm.
But I didn't understand that at the time,
Right.
you know? And so that put me in a different space where it's like, you know why I don't like red women? I'm talking about this from an environment perspective.
All right.
And me and you talk about this, and you always tell me, "Yeah, get with a married woman soon." And my oldest son, Michael's mom is red, and I
Mhm.
I shouldn't left Michael's mom alone. I don't like red women. I didn't learn until this year why I didn't like red women. This year, I'm
Really?
whole
Why is
49 years old. I know now, and it is because I had somewhat of a contentious relationship with my auntie, who is my mom's sister, who they were very close. We grew up in the house together. There was a season where I had a very contentious relationship with my auntie, and she's a red woman. So I just didn't like red women, period. But I didn't even
Mm.
recognize how environment with just one person
Mhm.
influence. And then over the time, anytime I had a negative encounter with a red woman, it just further reiterated that. Why am I bringing
Mhm.
this up in parenting? What all have your children seen that are influencing how they run their house today? How they run their house today? They disregard their husband, they disrespect them. Why? Because they saw you disrespect pop. They
Mhm.
disrespect their wife. Why? Because they saw mom accepting disrespect.
Right.
Just, but yeah, go
And
ahead,
I
babe.
don't think a lot of times the two ever really sit down and talk about those things that can
Mm-hmm.
affect one, the marriage, and two, parenting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because we just kind of pick up and start doing it, right? And so I
Yeah.
think a lot of times if you're never taught to have the conversation about it, and usually we dive into, or if you have the conversation, even if it's in counsel or therapy, it's very surface level. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not in depth. So sitting down talking to your spouse about, what did you see, what did you experience, and stuff like that. And like you said, you wasn't aware of this certain thing about bright or red women, but if you have certain conversations, I think along the way, sometimes that brings the awareness.
Yeah.
because of aha button, or like the light comes on and goes, wait a minute. And so you become aware. So a lot of times you have to have that communication, and sometimes it's hard. It's not always easy, but those tough conversations about how you was brought up and different things, because both parties, I think, kind of come into it. And I always call this the single mindset, being married or wanting to be married with the single mindset, because we never really transform our minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is you get in, so, oh, I'm a parent how I was parented. And then you
Mm-hmm.
start clashing. The two
Mm-hmm.
start clashing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
So
over time, or before time, it starts to build up resentment, right?
right. Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing that what I think happens for a lot of women, particularly with empty nest, is the husband gets so used to being on the back burner that once the kids are gone, you want him to make you a priority.
Mhm.
But he's comfortable on the back burner now. He's
That's
super
true.
comfortable. And what he wants to understand is what's changed. Why in the world are you disrupting my peace back here on this back burner? You've been comfortable and fine keeping me on the back burner. You've been comfortable and fine making no room for me in my own home because the kids.
Hmm.
Now you want to make me a priority. Notice what I said. Not that you want to make me a priority, you want me to make you a priority now. It's like, oh, I retired from parenting. You should celebrate me. And he like, hold on, I've been on the back burner. You should bring me back to the front burner and make me a priority for a minute. Because in the meantime, I just been back here providing and being quiet and sulking in my pain and shutting down. I ain't putting all of that on her. This is not a finger pointing exercise, but I'm trying to
Hmm.
explain and share a reality that men feel, right?
Right.
It I'm trying not to go somewhere because we're gonna talk about next week, next Thursday, we're gonna talk about money, power, and sex. And I'm trying
Hmm.
not to get ahead of myself. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. But in money, power, and sex, I'm gonna break down for y'all women what respect really looks like to a man, because I don't think y'all know.
Hmm.
I don't think y'all know. But go ahead.
That's good what you were saying, but I was so since I've been doing the menopausal like workshops, master classes, and talks and stuff like that, it's a lot of things. So, ooh, this is good. While you were saying that, all I could think about, and that's the thing, we don't sit down and communicate enough about feelings and what it's like. So, there is something that God gave us, and how we feel as a mother and a wife, that I don't think a lot of times we talk about, or maybe can't convey to the husband, and vice versa. So that's where we get stuck in our own heads of, he's neglected or she's neglected me until the kids are out, or this and that and the other, and certain things. So women are kind of wired in a way where you're pouring all that in, and these are the things you want to do, not that the husband doesn't, but we feel
Mm-hmm.
because we are the nurturer that I have to do this, and I have this amount of time to raise or instill certain things in the kids. And then when you get to a certain age, you actually feel like now it's that time for us to come back. And that's why it's so important, because it's hard to do that, because what you just explained and what you just said is exactly how the couples end up feeling. And so if they don't fix that early on, it's really hard, not impossible, to do it when you're empty nesters, because again,
Yes.
it's like we haven't cultivated that relationship, we don't have connection in unity. And so when the wife comes back to try to express, babe, this is the time that I really need that emotional support, not that you didn't need it um during your 20s, 30s, and 40s, but it's so important, and you need it so much more now around that age in 40s and 50s, and getting to the empty nest, because it's just something in us that needs it. And so it's hard to explain then, because the conversation, like you said, is, oh, you neglected me, and now you just want me to drop everything and kind of be there, and vice versa. Or now you want to take care of me, now you want to fix my
Mm-hmm.
food, now you want to take care of me. And it's not that I didn't before, But when you don't know how, you haven't had conversation or thought about it or became aware of what you really should be doing and how it should balance out and how it should be cultivated together, then you don't know until you know.
Yeah, yeah. You don't know what you don't know, and sometimes, if we being real, it's selfishness. If we being real, it's selfishness. I got these kids. I got to provide for these kids, not recognizing that the person that's helping you, sometimes the help you're getting is not the help you want, but it's the help you need, right?
Right.
If this man wasn't getting up and going to work and slaying dragons, right? Would I be able to do this thing? Would I be able to plan this? I heard a story recently where the wife was complaining, "You never helped me plan the family vacations." She was stay at home mom. He provided all the income, including the income to pay for the vacations. From his perspective, the least you can do is plan it. And along with planning it, plan some time for us too. But then
Mhm.
he felt judged, criticized, because it's like, hold on, I'm 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 doing everything and still it's not enough,
All right.
right? I'm doing
Yeah.
everything and it's still it's not enough, right? And this is where that doggone Proverbs 31 vex a lot of women because they misread what that story is about. I am amazed at the number of believing women who misread what that story is about. And they see it as a patriarchy and they see it as a whole bunch of stuff that it's not even about. I am amazed. But it is, there's a certain level of selfishness that just comes. And now I saw a woman on a video complain the other day talking about her husband is a creature of habit. He gonna work out, he gonna get up, he gonna go to work, he gonna do the things, he gonna cut the grass, he gonna take care of all that. He just don't have no spontaneity. He's a creature of habit. Well, I don't know her story, but some
Mhm.
men become creatures of habit just to survive the parenting phase. They need
Mhm.
something that looks routine, something that they can depend on, because they may get pushed away at home. And they're trying not to get pushed away into the arms of Delilah. They try not to get pushed away into the arms of Jezebel. They try not to get pushed away into the arms of another woman.
All right.
Sometimes that other woman is drugs. Sometimes that other woman is alcohol. Sometimes that other is being a workaholic. They
Mhm.
try not to. And then when the empty nest pops up, prioritize me. I'm your queen. Make me your queen. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You hadn't been acting queen like the whole time these children been in the house,
Right.
right?
I was
And
gonna
and
add this. Uh-huh.
well, I'm gonna just say this last part. And I don't want, again, you said earlier, this is not bashing parenting, ladies. I'm really not bashing women. I don't want you to take that. I'm trying to give you something that if your husband sat down and said it to it, you probably wouldn't hear anything other than his emotion and not his heart. Go ahead,
Mhm.
babe.
Yeah, that's why it's so important. And I go back to having conversations and talking, communication, in relationship and early on. Because here's the thing: when I was listening to you say that, what a part of it that I heard was one, that's what he was used to seeing. So if you've never communicated about one, what you want or what it looks like for you, because I think a
Mhm.
lot of people don't sit down and cultivate the relationship that each other wants. They come in trying to cultivate something they've seen in the past, they've seen
That's
on TV, or they
hmm
want in their mind, kind of fairy tale-ish, right? And so
right.
you don't, because when you even sit down and go or come to the table and state what you kind of want, then you get to talk to each other about, is this realistic, or are we going for the same thing? Do we want the same type of relationship or love or emotional connection and all of the things? So sometimes it's just, this is what I saw, that men are supposed to bring the check home, give it to the wife, go to work, not have hobbies, not do so many things. And so that's a um I think it's becoming a little more of a dated mindset. and things
Mm-hmm.
are shifting just a little bit, but not all the time because that's what you've seen. So when people say you're a product of your environment, it's not always the negative or the bad things you've seen. It's just what you know, what how you've been raised and what you saw.
Yeah. What's your normal? What's your normal? And your normal
Yeah.
is what you saw. And some people run from that normal because some of their normal was seeing their parents
Mhm.
have knocked out, drag out fights. And they like, I'm not gonna have that, which is fair. Don't have
Mhm.
that. I agree with you. But some
Right.
of them, their normal was they actually their parents had a healthy relationship, but because
Mhm.
healthy didn't look like chaos, because that's what the world has fooled us into, because healthy didn't look like chaos. Healthy then you supposed to fight for love. Love's supposed to be hard. No, it ain't. Not like that. Not like that. That's some nonsense. That's some
All right.
nonsense. So here let's talk about the temptation of making the children the center, right? How we do that sometimes. For us, for some, this wasn't us. It's soccer, right? It's
Mhm.
you got the ball leagues, the travel leagues. I have people that they kids deep in travel soccer, travel baseball, travel football, all of that, and they never have any time because they always on the go for the kids, and then they try and carve out some no homework, dance recitals, church programs. And I think the church programs, boy, that's layered. I ain't gonna even go there tonight. That's layered. The church programs, and the kids end up getting the majority of what the parent has to offer, and the spouse gets what's left over. Let me tell you, can I tell y'all, ladies, something that piss a man off? Can I tell you something really pisses a husband off? That man don't want no mare's well sex. That
Mhm.
man don't want no toot your butt over to him, and say he don't he every now and again a quick is okay every now and again, but man don't want no him sex. And a lot of times when you have kids,
Mhm.
we understand from time to time both of you gonna have some here sex, like we need to. But if that becomes the default, before long you realize not only have you not connected sexually in a meaningful way, but you haven't even had real conversations in weeks that wasn't about the children.
Mhm.
Wasn't about the children. But if you
Yeah.
want to piss
And
him
then
off, give him some chore sex. Some chore sex. That's what I'm gonna call it. Chore sex. Give him some chore sex. Give him some. I done fed the kids, washed the dishes, folded the clothes. Oh, what am I forgetting? Oh, gotta do my husband. Give him some of
mhm.
that. He ain't gonna want it. After a while, he ain't gonna want it. So
Yeah.
go ahead, babe.
No, I was going to say that's when actually, so I talked about resentment a little bit earlier. That's when it starts to creep in that
Mm-hmm.
time doing all of those things because mom or wife feels like, hey, dad isn't helping enough or hubby isn't helping enough. And then dads feel like moms are always nagging, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
she's fussing or nagging, and he's like, he's not helping out. He's not doing any of the things that I need. And neither of them notice that the marriage is shrinking and the
Mm-hmm.
kids, while the kids are thriving, right? So we go back to the kids are good, they're doing all of the things, but there's very little left over when it comes to the actual part of the home life that should
Mm-hmm.
get that attention in that time. That way you don't get the tooted over, like,
Mm-hmm.
the tired sex to check off the list,
The
to
check
check
off the
me off.
list sex. Yeah,
Done,
yeah. The check off
done,
the list. The
done.
chore sex. Yeah,
Yeah, the choice.
yeah. I'm gonna make a shirt. I'm gonna get in trouble for wearing it, but no man wants chore sex.
Mhm.
No husband wants chore sex. Some men might want some chore sex, but no husband wants chore sex. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep let's keep it kingdom, right?
Let's keep it kingdom. That's it. That's it. Right. And this is the thing. Think about it. What's one area where your kids run your calendar more than your spouse does? Right. What's one area where your kids run your calendar more than your spouse does? And there's a popular conversation that has happened. I read an article on it probably 10 years ago, but it's popping back up again. Is the black church keeping black women single? And there's an answer to that. Matter of fact, there's two. But now I have a different question. Is the black church the source of black divorce?
Mhm. Something to think about.
I just want to know. I'm gonna step back here. Is the black church becoming the source of a lot of black divorce? Okay. So let's talk about blended families because we had a little bit um of a blended family before, our blended family. And I am grateful
Did you
for the
say before?
relationship. I'm saying currently,
Oh.
coming up, but I'm grateful for. So you should let me finish my statement. I'm grateful for the relationship that you and Michael have and how that was cultivated over the years.
Mhm.
I was a step kid, like I told you. And looking back, I could have been a better child to my stepdad.
Mhm.
And when we were coming up together married, the one regret I have is that I didn't allow you to be more involved in the relationship, in the co-parenting relationship with Michael's mom and I, right? There are some things that as a man I should have just handed off to you and talked to my wife. Talk to my
Mhm.
wife. There was part of me that didn't want to make that a burden because I felt like it was my responsibility. Even though we supposed to be one, I felt it is my responsibility. But the reality is, I really should have turned some of those conversations over. Talk to Tamika. Y'all talk.
Mhm.
Y'all,
Right.
y'all do whatever, right? And let me know the outcome. But I didn't want to feel like I was shirking responsibility. But I think it would have probably saved a lot of drama because two
Mhm.
women would have had to work it out. And
You're right.
I think it just would have removed certain tensions, right? And I wish I
Mhm.
would have let you be more involved in that.
You're
But
right.
I kept you at an arm's distance. I know that created certain tensions between us. I know there's probably even some traditional stereotypes that come, oh, he keeping me away because he probably be sneaking over there and hiding it still or something like that. I'm not saying that's what you thought, but I'm sure that there's those mindsets, or even people around you may have had those mindsets, whatever the case may be. Allowing you to step closer to that relationship would have
Mhm.
done probably had a different improved some outcomes, let me say it that way. So
Right. Yeah. From my side, it was a little hard or difficult, but I can't put all the blame on you because I could have been a little more vocal or spoke up.
mm-hmm,
And that don't mean you would have responded any differently, but I
mm-hmm,
could at least have tried a little bit more. Because here's the thing: blended families don't fail because of the lack of love; it's the lack of unity. So it's the lack of coming together, the understanding, sitting down, talking about it, and making sure the adults are on the same page. um and the kids, and when the adults are on the same page, the kids can feel it, right?
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So and they'll notice when they're on the same page, but if they're off or they're not on the same page, they feel that too, right?
mm-hmm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, real
Sometimes it's
talk.
hard.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And the
So
kids can play on it and be a little manipulative when they know that the
abs-
parents aren't on the same page. They know how to
a-
work it now.
absolutely,
And that's not
absolutely.
and that's not just in bonus children. That's in your biological children too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
they're
That's
not on that
kids across the
same
board. They can
page. Yeah.
sense the divide between mom and dad and work it to their advantage. I know I did. I know I did. So I will tell a story on here. I had a girlfriend over one time, and I think the movie was Red Dawn or something like that. And the beginning of the movie had like a little sex scene where they making a little sex noise or whatever. And my stepdad was in his room, sleep, door closed. I'm in my room, sleep stuff I wouldn't dare let my kids do. In my room with my girlfriend, door closed. We watching the movie, but not really. And we getting it on, right? We being some naughty teenagers. My stepdad knocks
Yeah.
on the door. You kids get up and put your clothes on. Like, what you talking about? Whatever, He didn't open the door, because then the gig is up. I was like, I ain't doing that. Whatever. So then my mama came home. He told my mom, I like, Mom, what we wasn't doing that. He mistook this. And I replayed the clip of the movie. I say, he mistook that. We wasn't doing it. My mama smoothed that over however she smoothed it over. She shouldn't have. I was dead wrong. And my mama knew better. She knew
Mhm.
better. She knew better. Right. But I think that, that's where she should have let him father me in that moment.
Mm. All
For
right. So
not
she knew
just,
you was lying, but she took up for you.
yeah, she took up for me. And the fathering isn't just about the discipline. The fathering
Mhm.
is about talking to me and saying, son, that's disrespectful to me. The fathering is saying you are running the risk of bringing a child into this world. The father, I had heard these things from my mother. I had not necessarily heard it from a father. I had heard it from men, strap up, so you
Mhm.
don't get on child support. But see, they thing wasn't strap up because you shouldn't be doing it. They thing was strap up so you don't get on child support. But a
Right.
father would have come and said, you need to not do that because you don't need to bring a child in this world until you're ready to take care of a child. And there's a fathering moment, and my mom, wanting to cover me, probably
Mhm.
robbed him of that opportunity to father me. Right.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah,
that's
you
that's
see
the
me
thing.
clutching my pearls when you were telling your story, or my goal. I'm sorry, clutching
Hey,
my.
clutch it. I saw you clutch it. I saw you clutch it. I
Um,
saw you clutch it. Yeah. Clutching away. Yeah. So let's get ready to land this plane, right? So, talk about the roommate syndrome, babe.
okay, so the roommate syndrome. This is what I call the roommate syndrome. When you are still living together, but you're not connected. You're running logistics, picking up, drop off, doing all the things, bills. We can do all the things that need to be done to make the house run, but the intimacy is gone. It's completely
Mm-hmm.
gone. So we just there, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we sleep in the same room, sometimes we don't, but we do operate as roommates. So you really not having conversation or anything in common outside of the pickups, the bills, the things, the everyday things to run the house.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's even though we're talking about kids, but there are a lot of connection killers. There are a lot
Hmm.
of connection killers. Let me go on and say this. Let me go on and say this. If you got kids and y'all been on the go, always on the go, 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 and y'all get a break, maybe softball practice got canceled. Maybe they're on spring break. But during spring break, the church decided they're going to have a revival. The proper answer in that situation when y'all are in roommate mode is, Pastor, I won't be at revival. Why you ain't going to be at revival, Sister Johnson? I need to revive my home.
Mm, that's a good one.
And if your pastor got a problem with you bringing revival to your home, you might need to find another church. See, we miss opportunities to bring life connections, and we embrace those connection killers. There are times that we can have time. And instead of, hey, it's spring break, honey, take off a week. We're going to go to Disney World for the whole week with the kids. No, this is what we're going to do, honey. I already talked to my mama, or I talked to my friend, or I talked to somebody, and we're going to go off and do a couple of things, take the kids somewhere for a few days, and then we're going to have us some us time.
Hmm.
Depending on the age of the kids gonna just have to fend for themselves. We're gonna have us some us time. I planned it,
Hmm.
right? Don't when you get a break, don't be so fast to plug it in with something else before you check with your spouse. These connection killers, hyper focused on everything but the
Yeah.
marriage. One of the things I love, I cousin Linda. Pastor Linda Hines, she told me a story that always stuck with me. Always stuck
Mm-hmm.
with me. Is she said that when they was having a I think this might have been when the church was, she had a church down south or something, but wherever it was, she had a church, and her husband at the time wasn't even Cousin Mo, he wasn't even in the church at that time, and she explains that, but she was a
Mm-hmm.
pastor, and she had planned a revival, had prayed over it. God told her this the revival, this, that, and the third. Told the people. Told her husband after the fact. Her husband say, ain't no revival this week. For whatever his reason was, there was no
Mm-hmm.
revival this week. She say she talked to him. I prayed to God. So you talk to God and you ain't talk to me. That's what God told you to do. Like, she gave me this whole story, and then she
Mm-hmm.
promptly went back and told her church revival is canceled. Oh, we was looking for a high time in God. Ain't no high time in God if there's no high time in God happening in my home.
Mm-hmm.
It takes courage to do something like that. Because that first ministry, even though we say it very cliche, it's that first ministry is your home ministry.
It is.
Because God didn't tell you to go be fruitful and multiply the church. He said, go be fruit. He told Adam and Eve, he told them to basically go build your own congregation. Be fruitful and
Mm-hmm.
multiply at home. That doesn't mean, where she went wrong, and she'll share, is that after she heard from God before she planned anything, she should have talked to God. She got her steps out of order.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I believe partially, she didn't say this, I believe partially he was like, the fact that you went out of order is probably what bothered, because I just know us as men. The fact that you
Mm-hmm.
went out of order is now I gotta assert some rules and some boundaries,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she said he had never done that before. So we have to be in a place where when we get an empty space, before before we plug something else in,
Mm-hmm.
we need to check with each other. Hey, you
Right.
got anything planned? I'll tell you one thing that I'm gonna let you say something, babe, because then I want to tell you something that used to irk me. You ain't got better at it. I'll tell you something that used to irk me with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was just thinking about time, and that's a whole different talk, just about time and how valuable it is. But a lot of times we don't, or we think we have more time than we actually do, even within a day. And so a lot of times we overfill our plates with
Yes.
things because you already have certain things that are just mandatory that you have to do that's going to eat up time, but then you
Mm-hmm.
don't realize it, so you start to put so many other things on top of it and go, oh, I have all the time in the world, or I'll fit it in, or I have time to do it, and you really don't. So
Mm-hmm.
something is not getting the full attention that it needs when you try to crowd so much or so many things in, and that's just even in the house. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
not even the outside things, but then when it comes to the outside things, some things that you want to do and some things need to be done, right? It's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's
Yeah.
like you're always juggling or you're always feeling tired. But when you were talking about that, I was just thinking about, time in general and
Mm-hmm.
how just how we're not
Yeah.
aware.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that used to bother me earlier in marriage, and I say you getting better, but really it ain't, you don't do it anymore. But is we might have something planned or we're thinking about something, and then you get
Hmm.
friends that are like, oh, let's do this. You're like, babe, now we done solidified our plan, but then you'll
Hmm.
come back and be like, babe, are we still gonna do that? I told you we was doing it. Why?
Hmm.
And you'll be slow talking. And I was like, I know what this is. Well, the girls, da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, cool. Go ahead. Cool. That's fine. No, if you wanted to, no, no, that's fine. That's fine. Cool. Go ahead. Then on certain occasions, it would end up falling through and say, you still wanted to, because I don't want to be a backup. I don't want to be plan B because your girl's thing fell through. Now I done planned something for me to do. And it's sometimes I hadn't planned nothing for me to do, but I found me something to do because no, I'm not going to be the backup plan.
Hmm.
That is not making our spouse feel very much like a priority, right?
Right.
Now, I got a question because you said something. Um,
Hmm.
when you gonna teach your clear your plate workshop again? Because I feel like the ladies, two ideas that came to me. Wow, you know my brain always working. Two ideas that came to my mind. You either need to do a workshop, your workshop again, clear your plate, which is a powerful teaching about how to reclaim your time and find balance,
Right.
or and it's either or an and you need to do. I think a lot of ladies would like to hear. I call it wifing. That would be the workshop, wifing.
Wiping.
Wifing. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think some serious conversation about wifing need to be had, and some serious conversation about husbanding,
Hmm.
whatever that word is, need to be had as well. But yeah, wifing is one of those conversations need to be
Wiping,
had.
maybe hubby. I don't know. I was trying to say
Hubby.
that
Yeah.
a better way. Clear your plate coming soon. And so because we're talking about time, um, there are things that I have to make sure I have time for and that I'm doing time management
Mm-hmm.
right and wisely because I can't teach something I'm not actually doing right. And so
Right.
when we talk about clear your plate, that workshop, it's great and it's coming soon. So it's in the works. It's actually,
Okay.
almost there on the calendar. But I'm checking the calendar and seeing what else is on the calendar and making sure we're not overlapping things or we are not leaving that space in that time that you just talked about, filling it up with something else.
Mm-hmm.
It could
Right.
be free time to spend with your spouse or to just
Yeah.
do something else. And so we are bad about that. So just reconditioning my whole process of about time and plating and all of the things that we try to crowd in or put on our plate that we can't manage or do, or we don't even have the capacity to do without taking other things off.
Yep. Got it. Got it. So listen, so let's talk about some hard truths that parents might not want to hear. And we finna get out of here. We finna let y'all go. And if y'all got any questions, please drop them in the comments. Normally we would be live in Zoom and you could join us in Zoom, but Zoom wasn't wanting to Zoom tonight and we refuse to be stopped. Um here's a hard truth.
Oh.
All I want to do is zoom, 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 zoom. Oh, yeah. Um, here's the hard truth that some parents might not want to hear.
Mhm.
Your kids are going to leave one day. They're gonna leave, and the question you're gonna be left answering is, what's left of your marriage? What's left of it?
Mhm.
If you still have kids in the home, if you don't guard your marriage now, you will be strangers later. But I realize some people who are listening to this, you are already in that place. Who did I wake up next to? You are already strangers. And before you look outward, look inward.
Mhm.
Before you blame them from being distant, ask what did I do to contribute to that distance, right?
Yeah.
So that's a hard truth. That's a
Yeah.
hard truth.
And if we don't model love and respect in the home, our kids won't know how to build it or know what it looks like later. And I think we kind of touched on that a little bit. They'll repeat what they saw their parents doing, right? And then here's the thing, they'll know that their parents love them, but not necessarily each other.
Woo!
And so that's hard sometimes because they'll be like, oh, I know my parents love me. And they poured all the time, did all of the things. But then, hey, did they really love each other? They tolerated each other, but I don't know if they loved each other. And then because that's what they saw, they'll take that until their marriage.
I got I'm finna dare the people. I'm finna dare the people. And then I'm gonna say something. I'm finna dare y'all. I dare you to go and ask your kids what they saw growing up in the house and give them the permission to speak freely.
Mhm.
I dare you to ask the question, what did y'all see growing up? And give them the permission to speak freely. Don't hold it against them. If they say, Ma, you was raggedy to dad, dad, you was a piece of junk to Ma, I
Wow.
dare you. If you mature enough, I dare you to ask that question. See, here's why some might not want to ask that question, because some of y'all turn your kids into emotional support systems. You can't wait for them to get older so you can be besties, so you can have another surrogate for your spouse. Some of us
Mm-hmm.
won't let them go. Some of us are competing over who's the better parent instead of being a united front. You can disagree, but not in front of them, because that's dangerous. That's dangerous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
For
let's talk
sure.
about how you fix it. Let's talk about reclaiming your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You want to start
Just
that off? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
just before we move on, or we say that, when you were saying that, I was thinking about even being mature enough to have that conversation and open that up, leads to so many other things, like healing on both parts for you, your spouse, and your children, because it's
Mm-hmm.
awareness and it helps them build from there. So even if they hadn't seen it, for them to be able to have the conversation
Mm-hmm.
with you and
Mm-hmm.
start their healing process and journey also does something for you as the parent,
Mm-hmm.
as the mom, as the father, and your healing journey.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right.
So I
Cool.
just
Cool.
wanted to say that. So reclaiming your marriage, what we gonna do? Start with
Mm.
date night, weekly date, like date night, non-negotiable. No kids, no phones. What you like to say, bump them kids.
Bump them kids.
Right.
Listen, I
Right.
want to push back on date night. I've been waiting for us to get right here so I can say
Mm-hmm.
it had to go into sport mode. Date night is good, and it doesn't always have to be going out to a fancy
Yeah.
restaurant or something. It is being intentional about spending time together.
Yeah.
But
Period.
date night is not a magical cure. It
Mm-hmm.
can quickly become a check the box moment.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? I took you on date night. What do you want? But date night, it just becomes another chore.
Mm-hmm.
And if your date nights are a chore, they're not enjoyable, you don't enjoy each other and connect, then that date night ain't worth a hot doo doo. But a lot of people believe date night is just magical. Date night will not fix your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It will
Oh,
not fix your marriage. It can be a tool that can help you reconnect if you're intentional about it, but it will not heal your marriage. It will fix it. Let me restate that because I love it. It will fix it. It will not heal it.
you're right.
Date night will fix your marriage. It will not heal your marriage.
Definitely
So
has to be done with intention. Hmm.
it has to be with intention, right? This
Hmm.
is something else I will tell you. Everybody loves to fight the love languages. How many of y'all know? Oh, I know my love language, and I know my husband love language. Let me tell you why that love language thing is a trap. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not speaking against Gary Chapman and all that he did.
Hmm.
In that, it can be another tool. Here's why it doesn't work for most people, and it really doesn't mean much because you don't know where their love language was derived from. If their love language is gifts, and it was derived because their parents were poor and they didn't get enough gifts, then that their love language is derived from a childhood trauma, and you'll never be able to give them enough gifts to make them feel loved.
Or if
Be-
all they did was get gifts, because that could be another thing
that
too.
could be another thing, right? So you got
Hmm.
to understand that love language. If you don't understand where it derived from, hey, your love language is gifts. Let's talk about your childhood. Make sure that gift love language came from a healthy place, right? So here's something else you can do: holding parenting meetings separate from romantic time. Don't let every dinner date turn into a strategy session on homework and the
Hmm.
kids, and they got a tournament coming up, and they got a recital, and they got that. No, date night is date night. So when Tamika's saying no kids, right? No
Hmm.
kids means no kids. They ain't at the table and they ain't in your mouth,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it's important. And you have to be like present, and again, and I know we use the word and sometimes it seems like overuse it, but you really do have to be intentional, and that's the word intentional, right? Because you can do it so easily. You get to that table, and because you hadn't cultivated or been working on your relationship with each other, it's almost like I don't really know them or I don't have anything to talk about. So all we can talk about is that common thing or commonality, and that's the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
have to work hard at not talking about that. But here's the other thing. Agree on discipline and boundaries so your kids don't do the divide and conquer, because we talked about them can be being manipulative a
Right.
little earlier. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And here's another big one. And I struggle with this one a little bit. Protect your intimacy. Intimacy is more than sex. This is the part I struggle with. No kids in the middle of your bed. You need a sacred space for your marriage. And I get that. Why I struggle with it is because even though we have grown kids, there's nothing more heartwarming to me. And I'll tell you why. Than when our
Mhm.
kids will sometimes we just in there just talking, laughing, whatever. And they'll come in and they start talking, and our 20-some-year-old daughter jump in the middle of us, and she just running, telling us about life and some different things, or we talking about life. Then DJ will wander in, then he's on the foot of the lay across the foot of the bed, and we just sitting there talking. So I'm not saying that some of that isn't okay, but not if it's
Right.
interrupting y'all time, right?
Mhm.
The reason I cherish those moments so much is because I didn't have them. The reason I cherish those moments so much is because I feel like we created an environment where our kids felt welcome to talk with
Mhm.
us and be in our presence. So
Right.
that's where I have a little bit of struggle. But the key to that is don't let it. If y'all having a conversation, y'all connecting, and it don't have to be intense, but y'all just having a good time. Like, hey, y'all gotta come back. We talking, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that have to
It's
be the
definitely the win.
yeah.
The
It's the
win.
win. It's the win
Mhm.
for sure. It's sure. So here's a gut check for y'all before we get out of here. If your marriage disappeared tomorrow, how long would it take your kids to notice?
Mhm.
And
And be
how
honest.
long would it take you to notice?
Yeah. Be honest, because the answer is it'll tell where you are in your or with your priorities.
Yeah,
So take a minute, digest it, and think about it, but
yeah,
definitely be honest with yourself about it.
yeah. If y'all got any questions, now it's time to drop it because I want y'all to remember this as we get ready to close. Check them kids, love them, protect them, raise them, but don't lose your marriage in the process. And if you already on the other side of that empty nest and you feel like your marriage is already lost, be intentional about trying to reconnect.
Yeah. And the best thing you could ever give your kids is what? A healthy
A healthy
marriage that,
marriage.
that they can
Amen.
build from and build on. So that model marriage, and that goes back to word, Bible, kingdom culture, kingdom life.
Yeah.
It was the
So,
first thing that God
yeah,
put in the earth.
real talk. So, listen, check your balance, check your priorities, and most of all, check them kids.
Check
Hey,
them kids.
check them kids. Hey, listen, next week, next Thursday, 7 o'clock, we will be talking about money, power, and sex. And ladies, I'm going to talk to you about the things that you're probably overlooking that your husband counts as disrespect. So we'll see you on the next No Filter Relationship Masterclass series. You can go to relationships.nofilters.com and sign up for it. We'll drop that in there. Thank you for joining us tonight. We had a technical glitch. We couldn't get on Zoom, so we decided to come out here and do this for free on tonight. So until next time, God bless.
We love you for real, and good night.